Joining us in studio is political analyst Professor Nico Horn. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, thank you.
First of all, the applicants complained of skewed media coverage on political party campaigns. What was your observation?
Well, look, in the run-up to the election, we don't really know, what happened in Zimbabwe. But I must say, during the election, there was a real allowance of free press. The world press was there, and everybody could see everything that happened. Even when things went skewed on the second day, the press was there, and as far as I know, nobody acted against them. I mean, there were challenges all the time. The broadcasters would tell us that the police want them to get away, or the army want them to get away, but they were really not really challenged. They were there all the time. So as far as that is concerned, it seemed to have been quite an open election. As far as time given to the opposition parties pre-election period, I was not there. There are different and contradictory reports on that.
In its score challenge, the applicants, amongst others, claim there were 16 polling stations with identical results for both Chamisa and Mnangagwa, including spoiled votes. MDC's lawyer Tabani Mpofu likened this to a kid playing with figures. What is your take on this?
Well, it is actually too good to be true. You can't imagine that really is possible. 16 polling stations with exactly the same results.
Right.
It's as if somebody just needed to do some things here. And I think that would be one of the better parts of the evidence that came forward by the MDC.
Now, Mpofu also submitted that there were 9,000 votes which came from non-existing polling stations, which ZTC allegedly attributed to miscalculation. But you would also remember that ZTC announced incorrect results from a certain constituency, which it retracted later. How much doubt can this cast on the Election Commission's credibility?
Well, there were a lot of things that made me think twice. For example, the constant changing of votes, even after the court cases started, they again brought new amendments and so on. So the question that one would want to ask is, how credible are they and how reliable are they? Forget about even thinking of a rigging, just the fact that they are so sort of inaccurate in their announcements and so on. And then, of course, the big problem that I do have is that last province that they had to postpone the final result and then went back to count without the observers. And also the almost wonderful coincidence that after that counting, President Mnangagwa got exactly 50.8%. It's just sometimes too good to be true, yeah.
Yeah. Now, in their argument, applicants also said there were no primary data presented to the court by ZEC to support the released results. Can you explain to us the significance of this?
Well, what is important is if they brought the figures, it would have given the court just this extra opportunity to check everything again, to ask questions if there are questions to be asked. But then if they were negligent or didn't do their job properly, that's one side of the story. The other side of the story, of course, is we expected much more from the MDC. They really told us before the voting even started that they've taken photos of the polling stations when the results were initially announced, and it doesn't comply with the later results and so on. And we have heard nothing of that. So if it was just, again, a slackness of the MDC, or if it was a make-up story, we're not sure. Yeah. But I think they also disappointed us and their voters with the kind of evidence that they brought.
Prof, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And that was political analyst Professor Nico Horn discussing the High Court in Zimbabwe's expected decision tomorrow on a challenge to recent election results there.